Hello YouTube, my name's Andrew. This is my first video, and today I'm going to show you how to make a hammock suspension system. Alright, what you can see here is the finished product. This is what you're going to be making today. And your only materials that are necessary are 1-inch webbing, or 2-inch if you prefer, and 6mm paracord. Everything else is going to be done using knots. The tools you're going to need to make this are a pair of scissors, a lighter, and if you'd like to, a measuring tape for very specific measurements. And I also have a torch here for cutting the ends of the rope that I cut, because nobody likes frayed ends on their rope. It's always good to torch them after you cut them. But if you don't have a torch, a lighter will be just fine. Alright, in total here you're going to need 6 feet of webbing and 16 feet of 6mm paracord. I wouldn't really recommend using anything smaller. Maybe 5mm would be okay, but I definitely would not go with 550 paracord, because this is going to happen when you hang your hammock, and we don't want that. A few optional things I have here: I bought some new carabiners rated at like 4,500 pounds, and some high test fishing line, which I used on this product here to wrap the ends. Makes a little cleaner look that I kind of like, but that's not necessary. Alright, the first step in this process is going to be to cut your webbing into 2 lengths. I've already cut mine because I've made one. Each length is going to be about 6 feet long, and when you cut them, you want to singe the edges, which I've already done here. Alright, the next step is going to be to fold your strap over on itself. Get about 10 inches on fold back, and we're going to make a loop that's about 6 inches in diameter. And this is just a simple overhand knot, nothing fancy, yet very strong. Snug it a little bit, don't crank it down just yet. You'll do that later when you tension the entire system. Alright, your next step is going to be to cut your paracord, or 6mm cord, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to cut about 16 feet here. I know this table is 6 feet long, so I'm just going to use that as a rough estimate. And as you can see, this is going to leave the end of our rope really frayed, so now it's time to break out the lighter again. Or in this case, the torch. And there you have it. Next step here is going to be to find the midpoint in your rope. Make sure you've got 2 strands that are equal in length, and I have my midpoint marked right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that along the strap, and what we're doing here is tying a knot that's going to connect the paracord with the webbing, and what we're going to tie is a blood knot, or uni knot as it's sometimes called. I use this when I fish a lot to connect polymer with braided line without using any terminal tackle. So what you're going to do here is probably lay over about 2 feet. This doesn't really matter so much because this is going to be able to slide back and forth. You can adjust this on the next tie. To tie a uni knot, I'll probably put a link in there so you can see exactly what that looks like, or maybe upload a picture. You're just going to loop it over itself and through 2 times. 1 time would probably be enough, but 2 times just makes me feel a little safer, and there's probably no need to do it any more than twice. Alright, I'm going to give you a close-up here of what I've just done. This is the knot that I've tied around the rope. As you can see, there's a lot of slack, but if I pull this rope can slide in and out still. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but it is adjustable. And what I want to do here is tie the same knot on this side while leaving about 6 inches of slack to create a second loop here that's going to be used later on, or can be used in certain hanging situations. Now once you've got it kind of tight, you're going to want to tug both ends here, the strap and the rope, and this is going to pull this knot together and join it into one strand, or a union, or a blood knot as it's sometimes called. Alright, your next step here is going to be to tie overhand knots all the way down this rope. On the first one that I made, I tied them every 8 inches. I'm going to tie them every 6 inches on this one, so that way if I need to make minor adjustments of like 2 inches one way or another, I can do that by switching how far down on each strand I go. So when you get to the end here, you have a couple of options on what you want to do. The first one I did, I tied a loop and then I wound the excess up to give it a really clean look. I really don't think that's necessary to do. It was just something I did because I wanted to see how it would look. On this one, I don't quite have enough to tie one more knot. So what I'm going to do is do a double overhand knot just to finish it off. If you want to do a fancier knot. But this is all that I feel the need to do here. What this is going to do is really set all those knots you've tied in